this is a part 2 episode, so welcome back.
Yes.
To the backity back. There you go. Mm-hmm.
You've waited, 4 days for this?
Right?
And now it's here.
And you will be disappointed.
With that attitude. Right off the bat.
Starting with the bang.
She's all riled up.
Disappointed
Facebook doesn't
in
want her to
me.
post things, and she's upset about it.
It's weird. They're like, see the pinned post, and then there's no pinned post. And I'm like, why can't you just tell me the rules, stupid?
Because we're making them up as we go along.
Pretty much. They're like,
yeah.
I am in charge, and I feel good about being
Silence,
in charge.
woman.
Yeah.
I am in charge. You will not post here.
Except they're
Okay.
all women. We know this.
That's true. Not one of them's a dude. It's not
no,
fair.
not in the admins, no. It's 2 groups today that didn't like my question. I'm like, why? One of them was like, it's starting drama. And I was like, asking about therapy is drama. Okay.
They've been down this road before,
I
Karina.
guess. Jesus.
The last person that asked really started some drama.
Control your comments. My God. But I'm not Chris.
And I'm not Karina.
And this is Randy, and he's joining us once again for more fun times. And we have good topics today.
Well,
Again, still
yeah,
some
more. We have a lot to say.
Yes, which is why this is a part 2, and you get to have some extra.
So you get to have some extra. We're so nice to
I
you.
got this for you. Don't you feel special?
It's my way's more
Get to have
condescending.
Some extra mental health dysfunctions. Awesome.
Let the ADHD flow through you.
Oh, okay.
Hyperfocus is on pretty keyboard.
No, I just disassociated.
That's not
I went
ADHD
away.
thing.
I was
That's
gone.
called PTSD.
Yeah, I saw some shit.
Greg.
Yeah, Greg. I
Like
knew
Greg.
it. Fuck you, Greg. I'm on one now. This is all Facebook's fault. The metaverse,
Dang it.
keywords.
I know, they're like, update.
What else
and
can
I'm
I say
I'm
to,
not
like,
going to update it.
We sell property and we like gold and jewelry.
We
this-
also like the gays.
This is a DIY channel now.
We're going back to the beginning. We
I'm-
like the gays.
I'm trying to earn
it's
tags
a
here.
DIY on how to be gay.
I don't know how to do that.
Me neither.
All right. We'll start at the beginning.
I got it from IKEA. Now I'm not really sure what's happening. I don't know what's going on. Great. Awesome.
Anyway,
All right. So we're going to talk about the system and how broken the system is.
the mental health system,
Yes.
the health system behind it.
Right. Well, and the like structures that feed into it
Right.
and how that it's just a mess. It is a mess. And it's not even the provider's fault for the most part.
Yeah.
And that's the really hard part because you want to be like mad at them.
Yeah, you got to be mad at someone, right?
Yeah.
You got to direct it.
I'm dying.
But I'm sure if they called the shots, that it wouldn't be the way it is either.
Right.
Mhm. Well, and that's the thing. Like the good providers move to where they can provide good
Yeah.
service, and that's hard because sometimes your options are limited. So, we have some notes in here. I want to see what's gonna rile you up.
Oh, it's Randy's turn to be riled up.
Yes,
Oh, I don't
Which-
get riled up.
the face.
It's like, there's got to be a way.
Probably like the leadership side of it. Like,
Mm. Yes, because actually the funny thing is that the disconnect between leadership and care
Yeah.
pretty accurately mirrors the broken pieces of education.
yeah, I mean, and it's not even like just mental health. Like the healthcare field in general is like so driven by businessmen, lawyers, and
Yeah.
doctors that haven't seen a patient in 20 years.
Mhm.
Right. Well, and I didn't bother to catch up on any of the recent
Oh no.
rendering.
Oh, no, they were busy playing the politics game to get where they
Yes.
are.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and
And it's the same thing with education. Like
Mhm.
you look at like the upper leadership in education, and
you're like, have you seen a child
yeah,
at all? Have you met one?
Karina, there's only thing worse than a rapist.
A
child.
Great. It's Vine time. But yeah, no, it mirrors education in the
Mhm.
way that like you have all these principals who haven't worked with kids in years, and you have bigger leadership who haven't worked with kids in years, and
but are still telling you like
what you should
you should be doing,
And-
what
Right.
you need to be doing.
well, and best practice changes
And-
every other day.
Yeah.
And that's incredibly frustrating for the people who have to provide, but
Yeah.
the people who are at the top making those calls are like, what's gonna make happy for a very short amount of time.
Yeah.
Right.
But
They're
with
not thinking
healthcare
about
and,
what's
like,
feasible.
mental health, especially, like you like seeing a therapist is like its own expense under insurance. It's got its own
Yeah.
like categorization,
Hmm.
and it's not doctors deciding, yeah, this needs to be separate and it needs to cost this much.
Right.
It's like for-profit businessmen
Mhm.
and lawyers.
Yeah.
Like, what can we legally get away with, and how much money can we make?
Right.
Those are
Right.
the first two questions in healthcare.
I really liked what you said earlier when you said it's a luxury.
Luxury. Yeah. That's
Like
it.
healthcare as a whole is that way.
But then you have mental health inside of
But
it,
then
which is even
mental
more
health,
so.
exactly, because mental health isn't like an essential,
Hmm.
which is crazy.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, have you looked out your window recently? Have you looked in the direction of a newspaper? Like,
Yeah.
Right.
that's
Like,
we
why
need
are
this.
why are therapists not treated like GPs?
Right. Well, and we are coming out of a generation of trauma all of its own. Like, not to say that every generation isn't going through part
Right.
of that, but even that makes the case that we should be providing that as a given.
Hmm.
Like, that's part of your multidisciplinary team. And if you are not valuing the multidisciplinary team approach to like whole person care, you're behind.
Is that what Kaiser's doing?
But the
Like
question,
what your stuff is?
the question is not like, do you value it? It's how much do you value it?
Right.
Are you willing to sacrifice this much money for?
Well,
like,
no, I'm saying like
thinking back to like mine, like
no,
I was paying more than a car payment.
yeah, no, what I'm saying is like within medical tiers, it's not thought of as part of the multidisciplinary team.
Yeah.
So medical professionals are not including that with medicine because
Mhm.
it's care, and you need preventative care,
Yeah.
and you need
But they
like
see it as a
periodic
separation.
care.
Right.
Like it's not clinical.
Right.
It's not medical.
Well, no, it's like if you think about it, dentistry is like a medical health thing, but it's not.
Right.
It's its own thing.
Hmm.
Mental health is the same. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm gonna go see my therapist. I'm gonna get
Right.
mentally checked up.
Well, it's the same thing as like chiropractic or
Right.
acupuncture or
it should.
and the
be,
funny
but-
thing is that they're working chiropractic and acupuncture in, but they're leaving out like massage is not on that list of things.
Oh wow.
And again, like mental health is
yeah.
just now becoming that way because like, and I don't know that it's intentional really, but I've built a multidisciplinary
Well, I was
team.
gonna say, like, did you do that, or is that Kaiser? Like, does Kaiser?
Me with all my
encourage it?
referrals.
No?
Well, the pain management does, like integrated pain services. That's where like this group therapy is coming from.
Yeah, but
and
then what
that's
if like
under them.
people like Randy go in?
Right.
Is that part of it, or
No.
is it just you're gonna see the doctor and then
No, I think it's.
you're
Do
not
they
building
charge
a
it as
team
a
or-
specialist,
No, I have like
or is it a different tier altogether? Do they charge it as a specialist, or is it like different tier altogether?
the therapist.
Yeah.
They charge it separately altogether. Like
Okay.
it's cheaper to see a specialist
Oh wow.
than
Well, and
it is to see like mental health providers.
when I was
Shit.
working for the school district, when like it's like the employee assistance program or whatever,
Mhm.
you get 10 sessions a year.
Okay.
But they back out like 6 months.
Oh.
So like when I called and was like, I'm in crisis, they're like, okay, we'll get you in like 6
I'll
months.
see you
Hold on for the
later.
next 6 months.
Yeah.
Just look
Yeah.
forward to it.
Well, and even Kaiser,
Jesus.
when we called to try to get him set up with a different therapist, they were like, it'll act like a new patient intake,
Yeah.
and that's why they can't get him in with
Yeah.
anybody before October, because he would need a first session with whoever they
See,
picked.
but like what it really comes down to is like it's going back to the same thing as education. It's a supply and demand
Yes.
issue. We treat therapists like shit.
Yeah.
The good therapists leave, the bad therapists stay. There's more people that need therapy.
Mm-hmm.
It like
Yeah. Well, and that's exactly it. Is like people are tired of working the field, but also lay people are like, I need this,
Yeah.
need it.
That's
But again, we're not compensating them fairly, and just like teachers, people are leaving
right.
and leaving the field, not just like leaving the job.
Right.
They are bailing and doing something else.
That's why the whole loss of the of New Health sucks, because
Yeah.
they were integrated,
right.
which is why I liked them so much. I went
Right.
to them specifically because they had therapy and
Mhm.
psychology and PT all under the one roof.
right, exactly.
So I could see somebody there, and they were all working together.
Yeah.
Now I'm seeing people who were in that position separately.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I'm seeing Anna separately. I see Libby's on her own thing, and I see David on his own thing, and no PT.
Yeah, but for the people that don't know, like, how to build that team, like,
Right.
what,
Right.
like,
Well, and it takes effort
Yeah,
and
that's what I'm
energy
saying,
and like self
like
advocacy.
I'll go to my like GP,
Mm-hmm.
and that's really where that trail ends. Is 'cause
Exactly.
I don't know where to go from there.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what the doctor's supposed to know.
Yeah.
And
Well, and
supposed to
that's-
tell me.
That's the thing. They don't, and they won't.
Right.
And like we've had to learn to be really good self advocates or bring our disability buddy
Mm-hmm.
with us to keep us honest, so that we're not like downplaying when we
Yeah.
first meet this doctor, and then B, to help us to advocate for ourselves appropriately without leaving things out.
Right.
But yeah, no, I've had to like build it. Like,
Right. I got lucky and found it all under one roof.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
gone now, though.
But you know,
It's
like,
frustrating.
you know the pieces,
Right.
So you can like pick those up individually.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
it just
and I
sucks
think-
for other people now.
I think it would just be like you could sign an ROI between them, and then they could talk to each other.
Well, you
Yeah,
can.
yeah. That's
But
building it
it's-
yourself.
Yeah.
It's not a matter of like you can't build it yourself. There's so much prerequisite knowledge.
Yes.
To
Right.
Build it
Well,
yourself.
and like confidence. There
Yeah.
has to be a level of like, A, this is okay to do, and B,
Yeah.
I know how to
God.
tell people what I need.
Well, imagine going in fresh too. So like you have to find your good doctor first.
Mhm.
Then you have to find your good whatever the next doctor is, like therapist. You have to find a
Right.
good one.
Mhm.
Then you have to find a good, like, Jesus Christ.
Well, and finding a good one can take a year.
exactly. You can doctor
Because-
shop every position.
God
and not
forbid,
find
like you
anything good.
start and you hate them, you've got another 3 months to wait.
That's ridiculous.
And then
Well,
you
and
start
even
and
if
you
you,
hate
like-
that one, and you have another 3 months
if
to
you have
wait.
the best luck in
before
the
you
world,
can
like,
get a
it's
new one.
Still a multi-year process.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah.
you could have the best luck, and every single doctor is awesome.
Well, let's see. It's taken
But
me
even
4
getting
years.
a referral,
Yeah.
We got diagnosed in 2018. It's taken 4 years. And actually, my shoulder surgeon's gone, so I need a new one.
Yeah. There's a vacancy. If anyone wants to work on her
Right.
shoulder,
Just take it off. Just off. I don't know.
I don't think they're willing to help you if you go that route. She just wants it fixed. Just patch it up. You know,
got some
Duct tape on
drywall.
it.
putty.
there are a lot of EDS surgeons in our group.
Oh, God. Yes. Oh, man. But it's frustrating because it is. It's a broken, like you said, dental. And I hadn't thought about it that way, but it definitely is.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And they're like dental in the way that like it's not self-monitoring.
Mhm.
So there's no accountability
Right.
anywhere to be found.
I'm honestly surprised they haven't started doing it as like a separate insurance.
Right.
Like
you
vision
need
Like
mental
dental
health.
and vision?
insurance. Like you need mental health insurance. Like
Boy, do I.
I'll bet you that's
Oh no, you have
that's coming
pre-existing
down the
conditions.
pipeline.
I count as two people. I'm bipolar.
I like that a lot. That's great. Oh, bipolar. Well done.
You're gonna have to pay twice as much.
Yeah. Yeah.
Insure both of you.
Boy, how.
Whew. Oh my god. But yeah, no, I could see it going that route. Assuming Gen Z doesn't step up and tear everything down to the ground.
Come
Get on
guys.
it, Gen Z.
Hopefully they do. I could see them doing it.
Burns stuff.
It's so unfair to like newbies.
Yeah.
Like that person we were talking about, the brand new person who's like, I trust the system. I'm gonna go see someone.
No.
And they get their one doctor, and the doctor says you're fine, and then they move on with their life.
I mean,
Right.
that's pretty much where I was.
Right.
Right.
That's it.
Well, and without somebody to tell you that, like, no, that's not okay. You deserve good care.
I did that for
People
8
just
years.
accept it. They
Oh,
just
yeah.
accept it because they don't know that it's an option.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It is an option. You don't have to stay with bad providers. Don't do it. Do not stay with bad providers, because here's the thing, and I'll say it again because we've said it before. they are providing you with a service that you are paying for. We would not like, if the babysitter sucks, are you gonna like stay with the babysitter, or are you gonna go get a new babysitter? Like, if they are not providing the service, stop paying them.
I'd probably just
Find
get a new
someone
baby,
else.
but it's got to be the baby that's the problem in that situation.
That's all that gaslighting.
Well, that's
On fire.
where my brain went. I was like, well, I listened to the doctors and believed them that I was fine. What's the equivalent of that in the babysitter scenario? Oh, it was the baby's fault.
The baby
It was
did
the
it.
baby. It was
The
the baby.
baby did this.
Don't be the
No.
baby, okay? Stand up for yourself, goddammit.
I mean, but
Some people need to hear it.
well, and it's hard. It's hard to like, I don't know, like doctor shopping has such a stigma to it.
Yeah.
That's like this crazy unspoken thing. But it
We're trying to
permeates
bring it back
everything.
again.
I think that
Yeah.
there's also something to be said about like when you're going to any like medical professional, like you're not at your best.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like it should be easy to manage because it's designed for you to be there when you're not at your best.
Right. But no, at that point you become prey.
Yeah. Like they want to
Yeah.
take advantage of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's all an ER is. It's like
Yeah.
it's a
Oh, yeah.
cash cow
Oh yeah.
because
A
you're
cash cow with
you're easy to
abused
take advantage
workers.
of. Yeah.
It's the McDonald's of medicine.
Wow.
That's
Sorry.
true.
Yeah. That just
Great.
that changes
Wonderful.
my whole
Mhm.
experience of visiting them now, though.
Right. Which is why, like, I try to stick with urgent cares.
Yeah.
Because they're kinder humans,
Yeah.
just generally. And they're efficient and they want to, like, help you and then get you out of there. Which is nice because anytime
But
I
they don't
have to
the
go, I'm like,
resources
I
for-
hate this. What?
They don't have the resources for anything like real. Like urgent care is good for like
Well, yes, don't go there if you're going to, like,
small,
die.
minor problems, but like those
have
are
a
those are
CT.
like a lot of the like
Some do.
good professionals.
Well,
that-
Kaiser,
a
like,
lot of
does.
them at least.
Kaiser has a CT.
Well, UC Health doesn't. UC Health, to do X-rays and CTs, you have to go to ER. For a lot of them, there are some that have them, but
Yeah.
and they have to have the radiologist on call at the moment.
Yeah.
And some of them don't. Like at night, they don't have anyone.
Also, the irritating thing is like why is it that insurance companies get to decide who your providers are? Like the like in network
Yeah.
out of network thing, like why can't I just have insurance and find the best provider for the thing I need?
Because they have to have an established like contract. Just like
Well, that's the point of the single payer plan.
yeah, but like unless they
The
like
thing we'll never do.
unless they have that where like every provider is funneled through the same like
Yeah.
there's no ongoing agreement of like okay we're going to charge the insurance company that much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that bothers me too. And then when you find out like it's covered but it's actually not, like dental
Yeah,
is a
it's-
big one.
It's covered after you meet like $10,000
Well,
or something like that.
Dental
Mhm.
is scummy. Dental is super scummy
Oh,
because you'll be
dental's
like,
all-
they're like,
nothing's covered.
you're covered for all of these services once a year, and then you find out that like the digital X-rays were not the right machine, and so that's not covered. And also your cleaning, that's not covered because it happened on a Wednesday.
I have a story
Um,
about this.
Oh yeah, okay,
It's a good story.
I'm listening.
So when we went in to the nice new place,
Yeah.
she on the way out we went over all the things that need to be done. She priced it out and she was like, this is the worst case scenario that we could possibly do.
Hmm.
Like she made sure that it was the high end,
Yeah.
like assuming that they do like a bone graft and they have to do like a special.
Oh, yeah,
like,
yeah.
you know what I mean?
I had that where they give you the two different prices, and they're like,
Just-
it'll never be over
Right.
this.
Just the one.
Oh, okay.
So it'll be, we know what our max is, but she's like, it won't ever be higher than this.
Good.
Which is nice.
Yeah. Well, and that's huge to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's not common practice
Mm-mm.
at all.
No, and
They're like, yeah,
right
it's
now, fuck
covered.
that.
And then
Yeah.
suddenly they're like, I need $700, please.
on the way out,
And you're like,
yeah.
pardon me, what?
Like I've never once had any idea of what like a service would cost going
No.
into it.
Exactly.
Not at all. And the coverage means nothing. And so they take, especially because, they're taking like, what, $12 a month out of your account for dental or whatever it is,
Yeah.
and like it's not good, and you don't get an option for
Yeah.
dental insurance.
Yeah.
It just is.
Like if you do the
There.
math, you're honestly
Yeah.
probably better just saving the $12 a month.
She also
Put
saved
it in
me
the
from
dentist
screwing
jar.
up insurance and like the flapper.
Oh, nice.
If I ever need to do a more intricate one,
Yeah.
she's like, well, if you pay for the one now out of pocket,
Yeah.
if I had insurance do it, they wouldn't pay for another one ever.
Oh.
That would be
Really?
it.
Oh, really? It's like lifetime.
Yeah. So if I need to get like a more intricate like insert
Weird.
temporarily, like before we do like
Yeah.
permanence,
Yeah.
we can have them charge it for the more expensive one. But she's like, if you can pay out of
Interesting.
pocket for this one, you'll save yourself the hassle later on. And I was
Yeah.
like, good to know.
That is really good to know. Interesting.
Yeah, these people are really nice. You should go there.
It's another
I'm
like,
gonna try.
very uncommon practice.
But
Yeah.
again, like, what's actually covered? They're like, oh yeah, we take
Yeah.
United, but also no, we don't take your United.
Well,
Yours
because you're
is
brown.
different United. Oh no.
Yours
Even
is
when they do
United.
take
Nick.
it, it's like a $10 off coupon. It's,
What?
It's like a $10 off coupon.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, pretty
insurance?
much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Insurance, like it doesn't cover anything.
No, it
for
doesn't.
dental.
It's so frustrating. And I'm like, what did you pay for? What? Like, what is the point? What is the
Mhm.
point?
Yeah.
But I think it's terrifying to think that mental health could go that route
Yeah.
and become like,
I could totally
get
see
your
it,
mental
though.
health
Yeah.
insurance for only $9 a month.
There'd be like a bright now for your brain.
Oh my fucking god. Well, that's the other thing is like
There already
when they're
is.
like,
There's like
here's your-
Sondermind and stuff.
Oh yeah.
well, but the like
Shit.
10 sessions a year, they're like, you better be better in 10 sessions. Good luck.
You only get 10 tries. Oh my
Have
god.
fun.
That's a lot of mental work to do.
If you can wait
Right.
6 months.
Right.
Right. Well, and luckily, we got really lucky actually because I was telling my my pain psychologist about it, and the frustration, and I told her that they were like, we could get you in October, and she was like, oh my god, that's unacceptable. And so she went to her computer and like sent me a list of like partnering practices.
Okay. Nice.
And so that was nice. And she was like, they can usually get you in pretty quick, and they partner with Kaiser, and so you shouldn't have a problem there, blah, blah, blah. Oh, the other thing, you know what I'm super annoyed about?
Them turning off my insurance.
Yes. So if you are on medical leave, they can just pause your insurance.
Yeah. I ended an old contract for the last school year
Yeah.
and started a new one. And because
And then
I
all of a
was
sudden,
on like disability, I wasn't an employee, so I don't need health insurance.
Oh. Is that how that works?
yeah, apparently you're not an employee if you're on
Still
workman's
paying
comp.
for it though.
I love that for you.
Mm.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Isn't that awful? Yeah, they can just turn it off.
I have
Be
no
like,
idea.
you don't have health insurance
Right.
anymore. And you're like, yes, I do.
No. So you're injured, so
What?
you don't. Sorry about that.
And you know the funny
my
part, when you
God.
turn it off, like you can't even log into the system anymore. Oh shit! To figure out like what's going on.
So they just lock you out completely.
Yeah, they're just like, we're not doing this
Like you got
anymore.
hacked or something.
Yeah.
And then
They're
someone
like,
took
you
your
don't
I
have
had
an
to
account
call-
anymore. You don't have.
I had to call the benefits department and have them turn it back on.
Jesus.
And they were like, oh, it was an error in the system. And I was like, mm-hmm.
an error.
Sure it was.
And then
Sure.
they're like, it'll be back in like 5 days or so.
Yeah, this was on a Thursday.
Business days.
It was a Thursday. And she was like, Kaiser should have it again on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I'll have insurance again in like a few more
Yeah.
days.
And we had to pay for the first session
Out of pocket.
out of pocket. But she was
Jeez.
really sweet.
Yeah.
What is her name? I can't-
Taylor.
Taylor. She was really sweet. She was like, you could pay Sondermind, or we could set up a private appointment and you could pay me. And so it was like a $20 difference, basically.
Okay.
It
to
was
just-
like a $50 difference.
Was it?
Yeah.
I can't remember. But basically set up just with her.
Mhm.
And so he was able to do that
Damn.
for the first one. And then we should have Kaiser back on board, and who knows what that'll cost.
About the same. It's essentially just out of pocket with a little discount.
Well, but here's the thing. It's going to go towards your
Oh yeah, that's
deductible.
right. It won't cover anything until I hit. I think it's either $6,000 or $8,000, and then
Nothing?
it starts. Yeah, no, like I'm
What?
100% out of pocket until I hit like $6,000 or $8,000.
That's awful.
Yeah.
Why would you do that to yourself?
That's the good plan.
Oh my god.
That's the optimism.
The world is going to shit. It's all over. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh, it's awful.
Doctors taking meds away. Doctors
Yeah.
leaving.
Yeah. Doctors just
No
get to
mental health.
decide. Like, well, and the worst is like when not doctors get to decide.
Yeah. Like when you lose your pain management clinic.
Right?
That wasn't my decision.
Wow. Awful.
Fuck.
Awful. The other thing I had on here was when trauma informed care leaves out like physical injury and physical trauma and illness.
Yeah.
And so they're like hyper focused on, and this is kind of what's happening with me in group, is that
Mhm.
they're hyper focusing on like the PTSD aspect
Yeah.
and not paying enough attention to like the EDS aspect, because they seem to think that, oh, and this was the other thing, my pain management doctor didn't understand when I was talking about the movement disorder until I was able to like explain that it was dislocating things.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, oh, because she literally thought that the only pain that comes with EDS is dislocations. So she was like, well, if you're injuring yourself that many times, and I'm like, no, you're not understanding what EDS is. She's starting to get
But that,
it,
like-
but like,
Like that's such a common like thing all over the medical field.
Right.
Like they get this like theory, and they start chasing that theory,
Yeah.
yes.
and it's almost like they get blinders on. Like,
Well,
I'm going
we
through
say
the,
that like they've already decided. When you have a
yeah,
practitioner who's already decided
yeah,
what's up with you, like there's nothing to be done but leave.
yeah. Like I'm going through that on like the other side with like the TBI.
Mhm.
Like like every doctor I see seems to like just magically forget like, oh yeah, you like smashed your face against the concrete. Not actually, it was the back of my head.
Yeah.
But
But still, like,
Yeah.
like that's an unimportant detail.
right.
The whole incident itself
Yeah.
doesn't matter.
Just
They're
forget
like,
about
have
it.
you been depressed
Already
in the
did.
past? And you're like, yeah, but I was doing really well. And
Oh
I
my
have
God.
to, and this is why I have to go, because it's too much to ask to be like, here, advocate for yourself, when everyone's like, you should be better by now.
Right.
Guys.
Well, and like there's nothing in this process that is accessible or easy to navigate
Mm-mm.
when like my cognitive functions are not what they're supposed to be.
Right.
It's so confusing.
Yeah.
I like, and if I wasn't following up, like I'm pretty sure that like they'd just like
Oh
drop
yeah,
it,
no.
like,
If you weren't on it,
yeah,
you'd just get left out.
Yeah.
Like that's it.
Well, that's the other part, is like people falling through the cracks in the system. Like,
Mhm.
and this, especially when we're talking about like homeless people and homeless youth, especially, and people being off their meds, and that's why they're in that situation. And you're like, no,
Yeah, I know.
they're in that situation, and then they lost their meds because they're in that situation.
Right.
And then literally, if they wind up in an ER, they stabilize them and then send them back out
Mm-hmm.
with no resources, no help.
well, and like I don't understand the stigma behind even that. Like, would you like turn your nose up at like a diabetic that was like going into like diabetic shock because they didn't get their insulin?
Right.
But no, they might want pain meds, and that's unacceptable, and we have to treat them horribly.
The problem in that
Just
is
in
they
case.
might.
Well, they might, but
They-
you know what?
They could also have a bomb strapped to their chests. It's a
Who
wondrous world
knows?
out there.
Oh my god!
Yeah. Like the doctors have a theory, and they're gonna chase down that theory.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They're gonna like confirmation bias.
You
We talk
actually-
about that where you kind of let them find the answer, where
Yeah.
you lead them down the path to find the answer that you know the whole time.
We call it ego stroking.
Yeah.
So you have to like feed them little bits of information, but not in a I know what's going on kind of way,
Mm-hmm.
and then let them follow the bunny trail to where you wanted them to go, and be like, oh wow, what a revelation!
Wow, you're so
such
smart,
a
Doc."
smart doctor. Good job! Yay!
That is absolutely obnoxious.
Yes,
But
it's
it
horrible,
works.
but it does work.
It really does.
And then they learn that they're like, oh, maybe you know your shit, and then they start to trust you, and then you have a functioning relationship.
hmm
Maybe
If
that's why
they're
I
not
don't
an
have any
asshole.
sort of functional relationship with any mental health provider or like health provider.
If I know the answer, I'm going to tell you the answer. If I don't know the answer, I need you to know the answer.
Right?
I don't play the games.
Well, that's the thing is like
There shouldn't be.
there shouldn't
games.
be games at all
Right.
because this should be like, I pay you, you do a service.
Right.
Ta-da!
Well, it should also be, hey, my rib's out, and not, oh, you're probably anxious. Okay. Great.
I dislocated my toe. You're anxious.
I'm bleeding out. Oh, that's just your anxiety.
Your blood
coming
pressure
out
is
in-
really low.
We'll get you some blood thinners.
That's like, oh my god, this is the funniest one. So, poor Summer got to experience this one because they had to take her blood pressure. They were doing like a faux tilt test, basically.
Yeah.
And they had to take it like 3 times when she stood up because it wasn't registering. And I hate when they do that until they get a normal number.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, it's normal. And you're like,
No, it's not.
what about the 5 times it was not normal? And
Yeah.
they're like, oh, it's the machine. And you're like,
No, it's
no,
fucking
it's
not.
not. No,
No.
it's not. That's my body being
Yeah.
horrible. Because sometimes I come in and my joke is always they do it and they're like, huh. And I'm like, yeah, I've died. I died just now. I'm dead. And sometimes they think it's funny. And other times they're like,
You're going to hurt
Worried.
No,
yourself?
you're kind
well,
of
they're
right.
worried
Yeah.
that I am like, worried I'm going to die or something.
Right.
It's very strange. I don't know. It's just obnoxious. Like, please. And it's obnoxious when, like, you know what you're talking about and you
Mhm.
have to, like, play dumb, and B, let them talk and ego stroke themselves until you get somewhere where you're like, actually, what about this one?
hmm
Okay, good. Now follow that one to here.
I thought I'd had that problem with Bomba, the one that replaced my primary care,
Yeah,
but she's been pretty open to listening.
that's good.
Like when I went in and she was worried about my pulse. Like it
Oh,
was-
yeah.
She's like, you're.
Quick.
Oh yeah, it was way quick. And she was worried about my blood pressure. I was like, oh no, my blood pressure should be good.
Yep.
It's not because I just sat up, like I moved, but
Right.
give it a
It's
second.
not because I moved.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's always what. Give it a minute.
Right.
Like,
and she was like, okay.
take it again in
okay.
a moment.
Yeah.
It's fine.
And then I was normal.
I will be fine. I promise.
But she actually listened and wasn't like, oh
Yeah.
no, you're gonna die.
It's so funny because we need to talk to Bug again because he stole my medical team.
I've been trying to do that for years.
And it's funny because he'll talk about how like Dr. Wright is astonished by the 2 of us, or he'll be like, oh, I can't tell you what your sister's doing for this, but you should talk to her.
You could just sign releases.
Right? We should. Like, here's all the everything.
You put
Ta-da.
Randy down, I assume, on the like people that can get your
Oh, yeah.
records. I have you as down as people that can take my records too.
Oh, nice. I should
Usually.
do that. I don't know how to update that. I'll have to look.
You just ask them, and they'll hand
Okay.
you a form.
Oh, okay. We'll do that then.
It's just a
Because
release.
it's smart to do it that way because we're siblings.
Yeah.
But it's just funny to have a doctor that's like, yeah, your sister knows her shit. Talk to her. She's been through some stuff. She could probably give you some
No.
ideas.
No, it's not good enough until your doctor starts saying you need to watch the podcast. Your sister talked about this 3 weeks ago. Where the fuck have you been?
Is Anna watching it?
Don't know.
She's got to watch it before we have her on.
Mm,
I'm really sad.
I hope
have
she
this
is.
Black pen. Dang it. I was doodling.
I
Now I
mean,
have to like stop doodling.
so she did sub when I was in the office, right?
okay.
2 days later, we lost a subscriber somewhere.
It
Not
was a
saying it's
courtesy
her,
Sub.
but it could have been her.
That's funny. Oh my god, no.
I don't think it was.
Okay. That's terrible.
And is my psychologist or
Yeah.
psychologist. She's my mental
She's good
health at the
people.
moment.
Yeah.
And she said she wants to do the podcast
Which will be really
Nice.
cool.
and talk about all sorts of stuff.
Yes. Because we're talking mental health, but I'd love to hear from someone in the
specialist.
field.
Yeah.
Yeah. About, especially when it comes to like pain management, because the risk of suicide has to be so much higher for
Mhm.
patients in pain management.
Yeah.
And that's a heavy thing. Like, you're like, if we don't make sure these people are okay, they're gonna die. They're gonna jump off the planet.
Wow, I'm sure she would talk at length.
Yeah.
She's so candid.
That'll be good.
Mhm.
That'll be fun. I'm excited for that one. But I don't know, man. I just wish it wasn't so hard to navigate because, like, you can't teach everybody these things.
Right.
I mean, you can, but practice is the only way to do
Well,
it.
but, like,
And if you don't have a support
that's
system,
preventative.
Yeah.
Like when you need it is not the time to like. Not gonna like Google how to navigate the medical system.
Oh, yeah.
I snapped my leg in half. How do I navigate the medical system?
via
Let me watch some
ambulance.
TED Talks.
Via ambulance. That's gonna be what it
Yeah.
is.
Full on
You gotta
mental
go in and
breakdown.
ask
Hold on,
for
let me
gas.
research.
let me do some research. I'm in a great mental space right now. I'm really digging the death vibe. How do I avoid that?
You don't. It's just death vibe.
Oh, that's just the ennui, sir. Oh,
Oh, great.
great.
Wonderful. I like.
What
I
is
love
the
this.
most fiscally sound way to not die?
Death. Death is the answer,
Yeah. Now funerals are expensive too.
right? Oh, there's someone at somebody's door. I think it's my
it you?
door. It might be my door.
Yeah, we don't have
It's
the
either
bing
my
bong.
door or your parents' door, because
I'm not
sometimes I
logged in,
still get
so-
that, and that's weird and annoying.
I haven't logged in on my new phone.
Let's find out.
Someone's breaking into your house right now.
Oh my god, it's not my house. It's my in-laws' house.
Is it?
So someone's
Yeah.
breaking into your in-laws' house? We should go do something. We have oxygen
We're
tanks.
not
We can take on the
heroes.
world.
We're not morticians.
I beg to differ.
Damn it, Jim.
I'm not a doctor. I'm a mortician.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a bad thing to confuse.
Yeah, don't get it confused then.
Ooh.
We can bring him back.
Not on my watch. I'm a mortician.
I'm trained to specifically avoid that. That's terrible. We're the worst.
There's this decades-long battles between doctors and morticians. Doctors trying to save people, morticians trying to make them look good in death.
Uh-huh.
Like, they're dead. Leave them. They're
Leave
ours.
them. What is happening? Could you just stop? Stop. Just stop it. Just stop. Is it break time?
That is a
We
It's,
Smell.
smell.
a little,
it's rosemary. Like,
That is...
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I know what this smell
We're going to
is.
explain this real quick. So these are like think tank boost oxygen
don't show the brand. You're unsponsored.
things. I don't know. They're oxygen tanks for people who can't handle altitude. But my husband thought it might be something cool to try for the Potses.
Yeah.
Because dysautonomia is horrendous.
Well, and we figured out that low pressure means less oxygen
Yes. Which is why you get sleepy. Tidbits.
when there's low pressure.
Yes.
So
So this is actually what happens, literally. Like, I have questions for years and years and years and years and years, and then I finally hit the correct Google search terms, and I'm like, oh,
there it is.
look, an answer.
Yeah.
Ta-da!
This
And that
this
happens.
smells like the Earthbound player's guide, because it had a scratch and sniff section, and
Oh
this was the
my
smell
God.
of rotting trash. There's a monster made of trash, and this is that smell.
Oh,
I'm getting
no.
like heavy nostalgia vibes.
Oh,
Oh,
no.
that's hilarious.
I don't hate it.
He can't have oxygen. It's trash.
I don't love it, but I don't hate it.
I mean, is it worth a 66% savings?
Jesus.
Does this go over your mouth or over your nose?
Either.
Because
Both.
it's scented, so
I think
did
when you
this,
exhale, like
Okay, it's time for a break. So sorry.
I'm not.
I'm Randy.
And he's figured out the intro. Let's go.
Damn it. Welcome back. Oh,
There goes our break.
oh God. Yeah, did you enjoy it? It was a good one.
No.
Do all the things? No,
I
we
did
didn't do
nothing.
anything. It's time. It's time to take a break.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, friends. Do the things. Drink water. Have snack. Because our snack gets scared by smelly
Trash.
oxygen. Anything else? Go touch some grass. If you
Don't
would
be
like.
rude.
I said if you would like.
Yeah, you touch the grass if you want.
Touch the grass. if
Who's
you would like.
grass?
Anybody's
Oh.
grass.
Who is grass?
Oh. Well, your ass is grass. But
She's the lawnmower. We need to go on break.
okay. I love you. Bye. Fantastic Pains now has merch. I know we've been promising it for a while, but it is here. You can find our stuff at fantastic-pains.creator-spring.com. We have t-shirts, hoodies, leggings, wine coolers, I guess you can call them, and my very favorite backpack. So take a minute, go check us out.
And we're back.
He nailed it. So how was your break? Ours was fantastic. I don't know what she's upset about. Honestly, I'm having a great day.
I keep being ambushed.
No, stop playing the victim
I'm
here.
gonna be hyper vigilant now, and then I'll have to
I'm
answer yes
gonna
on my
be
questionnaire.
I'm so sorry. Did I trigger your hypervigilance?
Yes,
You go be
I'm
hypervigilant?
triggered.
You gonna vigilant hyperly?
I'm gonna vigilant hyperly, yeah.
Good for you. I do it all the time.
Good.
I have trauma.
We are on it.
Well, this is our 6th hour of recording.
I know, we've been at this for a while,
Future Chris, I'm sorry.
but we're having a really good time.
True.
So it's hard to like
It is a good recording.
want to stop. I don't know. Good conversations. All right. So we have a few more bullet points to get through,
And then we'll be done?
and then we can be done.
Nice.
We can be done anytime. We could end it mid-sentence if you really wanted.
Right?
Very Sopranos of us.
We're amazing.
Cut that bit out and that's the end.
Exactly.
right. Right now. All right. So I think we need to talk about understaffed and undertrained facilities, because all three of us have had similar experiences at very different times in our lives.
Yeah.
That's
true.
Especially with
in
being-
the world.
Yeah. But they all kind of mirror each other.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I was the furthest back. So
Yeah.
I'll go over that. So when I was committed when I was 17. Yeah. Yeah. I was
She
17 at the
was
time.
16, going on 17. They put her in the hospital.
Nobody knew what to do with me. They were like, are you cutting yourself? No. Are you like hurting animals? No. Are you like, why are you here? And I was like, I don't know. And then I never saw a provider.
Yeah.
I only saw the nurses, and I only did groups, and I ate and I slept for 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they came back to like, I don't know, it was like a maybe we'll take you home today.
Oh, yeah.
They were like, what coping skills have you learned? And I'm like,
I learned how to make a shiv.
excuse me, what?
Right?
I
Oh,
learned not to shampoo my hair. If that counts, I don't know. If you've ever been on the inside, it's really bad. Really bad if you shampoo your hair. Don't do that. Oh my god. It's horrible. Just have dirty hair. It's fine.
Fair.
The water is better than the soap, I promise. But yeah, they were like, what coping skills have you learned? And I was like, I was supposed to learn coping skills? And they were like, well, with your sessions with the doctor. And then I said, I've never seen the doctor, and they told me that I was lying. And then they sentenced me to 2 more days.
Wow.
And in those 2 more days, I still never saw anybody. And then I made up some coping skills.
Yep.
Because I was like, I don't know what you want from me. I literally don't have a template for this, and I have no clue what you're asking. So never saw a provider, because they were like, what are you doing here? Why are you taking up a bed? What's happening? What's wrong with you? What?
Mm-hmm.
Not enough wrong with you. But yeah, no, never saw a provider. There was never anything like set up for after either.
Right.
So when they took me home, it was just like,
you had no like
we're
aftercare
gonna do
instructions
your-
or
made up coping skills. And that was it. That was it.
yeah.
And then nothing followed. And I was back to exactly where I was before I
yeah.
was a runaway. So that didn't stick. Didn't do any good.
No.
Didn't do like harm necessarily, but didn't do any good. But yeah, I did not enjoy being told that I was like, when I was like, I've never seen a provider. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
They were like, you're full of it. And I'm like, but I'm not. And then yours was next.
Yeah, I'm next.
Yeah.
I had a great like total breakdown.
Mm.
I was cutting myself and I was like, I don't care if I die now. That's probably not a good sign. And I was like, okay. It's weird. I was startled by the revelation, you know? Like I'm like, I could just finish this off. And there was no like anything.
Emotionality
I was just like,
attached
do
to
it.
it. Yeah.
And that
So
scared me.
bizarre.
But not like, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
a weird feeling.
It's interesting to me because, like, I don't know. I have a hard time being out of control,
Yeah.
even when I want to be out of control, because I am such a control freak of myself
Mm-hmm.
that, like, I'm acutely aware of me at all times.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I was aware that
Yeah.
I wasn't cool with dying, but I was cool with dying.
Right?
I hit this point where I was like, I'm going to. And I was like,
I'm gonna die
Yeah,
now.
take that like brief
Ooh.
moment of clarity. Like,
yeah,
that
you
brief
get
moment of
one
control.
shot. Yeah.
It's so bizarre.
And so I was like, Jen, I think I need to go to the hospital. And she was like, why? And I was like, look. And
Oh,
yeah.
that must have been terrifying.
well, the way I tell it is way more dramatic. I was way more chill. I was like, I think I need to go to the hospital. And she's like, why? I was like, I cut myself. She's like, how bad?
Oh,
Pretty
no.
bad.
Pretty bad.
Pretty bad.
I was
So
just
we went to the
ripping
hospital.
myself open. It's fine.
And they'd never looked at my arm.
Which is weird.
They did
on its
intake.
own. What?
Like they checked my stats and everything.
Yeah.
My arm's wrapped up in a towel that's covered in blood, and they didn't like do anything. They didn't even take it away. That's a choking hazard. I could have like offed myself with that.
See, okay, so before you say, because I feel like this is the way it is. There's like a disdain in the emergency room for people who are having social, like emotional
Oh, yeah.
crisis.
Oh, definitely.
They're like, we have
Like a
real medical
really
issues.
nasty-
exactly.
yeah.
You don't want to be here. We don't want to help you. Kind
it's
of.
just,
Yeah.
it's icky, right?
Yeah, oh,
Like
yeah.
it's a disdainful attitude.
Hmm.
Oof.
Yeah.
And then they put you in like, or I don't know if they did for you, but they put me in the transit
Oh,
ward
yeah,
of the ER,
I got out of it.
and there was no AC,
Oh,
and they wouldn't
Jesus.
let
Oh,
me
it was
like even
hot.
crack the door open.
That like ER was awful.
No
and
thanks.
they had a TV that had one channel on it,
Oh my god.
and you couldn't control the volume, and you couldn't turn it off.
Yeah.
And it played infomercials.
Oh, it should have just played Bob Ross. Calm everyone down.
Right?
No,
That'd
it
be
was
great.
like
And
it was like a
some
basic
Mr.
cable
Rogers.
channel.
Right.
Jesus.
So yeah, I spent the night. I saw. Let's see. I was in for I think 2 days. 2 or 3. I don't remember.
Mhm.
I wasn't there long. But I saw a social worker, and they cleared me after they were like, "You're really lucid. Like, you're pretty aware of what's going on. This
Right.
is weird." And I was like, "I know." That I checked myself in. It's weird, right?
Yeah, wow. I
Um,
recognized I needed help.
But that was
Crazy.
the only person I saw. There was like a nurse that told me what was happening,
Yeah.
but there was no check-in. You just like,
so weird.
we're doing this now. You'll know in like so many hours if you're gonna see someone. And then I just saw a social worker who hooked
It's
me up
just
with the
weird.
therapist. And then when I went to the therapist the next day, the therapist said they couldn't help me because I was too
High function.
high functioning.
Yep.
And the next one I saw after that said I was too high functioning, and then I gave up.
Well, yeah. If you're like, I need help, and they're like, no, you don't.
I'm not sure how I survived that honestly, because I don't remember
No,
there
you
being a
don't.
turning point.
Jesus.
You know, like
Right, like something that changed things. Well,
nothing changed anything.
the contract with Jen
Yeah,
may have changed things. Like
Yeah.
the deal that you made, yeah.
I think that had to be that and the kids like
Yeah.
wanting to get better.
Right.
Like you hit rock bottom,
Mhm.
you wallow in it, and then you're like, this can't
Right.
persist.
Well, and it's hard because that like wallowing phase is different for everybody. And
I
then
did it for years.
It's so hard when you're like watching someone wallow and you're
Yeah.
like, I want to help you up,
Mm-hmm.
but you don't want to get up.
Well, you're not ready. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
It's just hard to watch somebody go through that.
yeah,
When
It's
you're
like-
like,
They have to-
you've
they
been
have to
there, you
find
know.
that, like, this is not like the normal human experience
Mhm.
on their own.
yeah.
Yeah.
You can't force someone out of it.
Mhm.
Right. Well, okay, that makes sense because like the imposter syndrome
Right.
like plays into everything really heavy.
Yeah.
And it, especially for people who are neurodivergent and like we are acutely aware of different aspects of life.
Yeah.
It's what was I saying to you the other day? It's like meta consciousness
Okay. Yeah.
in a way.
I like that.
Yeah. I don't
Like
know.
you're so aware of like how you're perceived because you're always masking.
that like you're even analyzing like authentic you as.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
totally.
Yeah. No, we were talking about this last night, where it's like you mask for so long that at the end of it, when you're ready to take it off, you don't know what's underneath, and it's
Yeah.
hard. It's like it's fused to you, and you've got to chip away at it
Yeah.
little by little to
I
scrape
feel like
that off.
what happened was I had my big meltdown.
Mm-hmm.
I put on a really tight mask for a few years because we never dealt with it.
Yeah.
We lived in that apartment. We got a new apartment. We moved like 4 times before
Right.
we were at the Fundy House, and it wasn't until the Fundy House that I actually was working to getting better.
Right.
I hit rock bottom again, but
Mhm.
I didn't get I didn't check in or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, I'm back to this place. This is bullshit.
I don't like this place.
Yeah.
It's not a nice place. Well, and I think we were seeing each other more at that point.
Yeah.
And like having the dual support was really nice, and like
Mhm.
being semi accountable to one another. And it was just opening the door to like, hey, you're not alone in this, and oh my god, someone else is going
Well, yeah,
through
we were
this.
having a lot of shared experiences.
Yeah, like I would come over and I would say something that I was like dealing with, and you would look at Jen and look at me and be like, dude, me too. Like
Mhm.
exactly that. What you described, exactly that. And that was just, it was different. Like it was like finding someone who's not an NPC. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like-
yeah, yeah.
Like
You
you're
walk
like,
up
you're
to
like,
someone,
oh my
you're
god,
like,
you're
"Hey,"
a real person.
And then they interact with you. You're like, whoa, this is
Right?
weird.
yeah.
Yeah.
And like you can relate to and bounce off of, and
Yeah, I guess that really was the turning point then, was
Mhm.
being not alone in it.
right.
No, because that was the first
Well,
validation I had
Yeah.
ever about EDS anything.
And then we heard about Bug, and we were like, there has to be something.
Yeah.
This has a name. We just don't know what it is yet.
Right.
And that became kind of like, I guess the mission was the distraction.
Yeah.
Right? Like it was all about like not us getting better necessarily, but like finding an answer
Mhm.
and then having the security of the answer.
Yeah.
And once we had the security of the answer, it was easier to like move forward and try to address things
Right.
and really acknowledge that those things existed in the first place. Because at that point we were like, maybe we're crazy. I don't know.
I mean, that was my operational mode.
yeah,
I'm insane.
I'm
Clearly.
crazy, and everybody goes through this, and that's it.
Yeah.
Well, when there's no concrete evidence to the contrary,
Exactly.
your mind goes
Yeah.
weird places.
Well, and it's a hard thing to train your brain out of.
hmm
And so it's really easy to slip back into it, and especially the imposter syndrome. Like, there's a reason that we ask for pictures for surgeries,
Yes.
because we literally, and I'm really not kidding. Like, this is as stark as it can be. We will literally do the mental gymnastics to convince ourselves that there was nothing actually wrong, and they operated to appease us,
hmm
and that they opened us up, found nothing, stitched us up, and we're like, ta-da, we're done.
Right.
Just to make us shut up and go away.
Yeah.
Because we're crazy.
I think I'm more crazy though.
Huh.
Because I'm 2 people.
You're bipolar. Well, I'm bisexual, so. What now?
Fuck off.
Bye, guys.
You fuck off.
But yeah, like the journey, I guess, was the beginning of getting out of it.
Yeah,
The crawl.
right. Because, like, I don't know. You don't want someone to help you up when they're in, like, a wonderful place
Right.
either. Because then it feels either burdensome or
Well, like when
pitying.
somebody's in a good place, like you are gonna pull them down a little for them to pull you up.
yes.
Like, yeah, it is an ask when somebody's in a good place. Like, you don't want to like pull them down to get up.
Oh yeah, I would not.
Mhm.
I would just opt out every time. I'd be like, I'm mad at you for not helping me, but I
But also,
specifically
don't
avoided
touch me.
asking for help because I don't want to bother you.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to be the problem right now.
How long did it take to convince each other that we were not bothering one another?
Years. It went on for a long
It was
time.
a long process.
Where we'd be like, oh, sorry for bothering you.
and then
Like,
you're like, no, really, you're not.
it's
you're
not
not
an issue,
I really like hanging out with you.
right?
And then you're like, no, you don't.
You
That's a
liar.
lie. This is made up.
Pretty much.
And that's how we operated for a very long time.
hmm
But yeah, that imposter syndrome is strong. And it's like addiction. Like you fall back in real quick if you're not paying attention to what is happening and like what old habits and patterns are emerging in different ways.
Like I got really pissed the other night. I don't want to talk about it. I'm going to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. 'Cause then Austin's going to get mad at me for not just saying what was bothering me. But
well, but sometimes you just need to process it before you say it. I don't know.
dude, I went from 0 to
I don't
50 like in a second. It was bad.
Uh-oh.
So we were playing Destiny, and I was talking about the getting ready for the next season.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to do bounty stalking. I'm going to stock up with a bunch of bounties so that when the artifact resets, I'll have tons of levels.
Okay.
And he's like, oh, that's stupid. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, well, I'm just going to make builds. I was like, for 30 days, you're going to make different builds for 30. You could pick up bounties and do it casually. No, I'm going to, okay, you do bounties. And that pissed me off because like, what? Just pick up the bounties. It's not a big deal. They get done on their own, dude. I just got real quiet. I was like,
But Glimmer.
what are you going to do? Progress your season past your level 200 fuck? I had a lot of arguments with him in my head.
Oh, no.
And it wasn't a big deal. But like I got so worked up. I turned off the computer.
Yeah.
I went upstairs and I jumped into bed. And I was like, Jen, I need like 4 or 5 times the normal night meds. She's like, you going to die? And I was like, I don't know.
I don't.
I was so
I don't care.
pissed.
Oh no.
Yeah. And it was nothing. It was a total like a buy swing.
Yeah.
I was like, ooh, I'm
It
going to be
just, like,
bipolar now.
Catches you off guard, and you're like, what the fuck was that?
And I'm pretty sure I have my meds. That was just a really severe swing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have swings like that
God.
anymore. It caught me off guard.
Yeah.
So I was laying there and I was like, what the fuck was that all about, dude? What are you doing? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, well, and then like the guilt and the shame come around
Mhm.
right on the outside of that. And
Oh,
that's
totally.
Oh yeah.
just so
Right, like the-
frustrating.
Now I've done this and people saw it, right?
That is the
Like,
worst.
oh my god, I can never, like, they'll never forgive me or look at
Well,
me the same way.
And what's
or...
fucked up is Jen was still in the call with Austin.
Oh no.
So he heard like, do we need to go to the hospital? And then so he was very worried the
Oh
next day.
no.
I'm sorry for worrying you, by the way. I am fine. It was just me being bipolar. Not that you know what that's like.
It's not like we did a whole episode.
No.
on that. Like, no.
But it's like, even in that, I was able to sit down and be like, what is going on?
Right. Like questioning it. Like, I
yeah.
was explaining this the other day, and it's like I spend a lot of time. Well, because as kids, we spent a lot of time on our own.
Yeah.
And like entertaining ourselves, and like my brain was very destructive at the time, but I've always been good at communicating with me.
Yeah.
For the most part, so I'll sit down and I just ask my brain questions until I come up with like solutions. But that's where like, okay, here we go. Segue. The smoke screening comes into play.
Oh.
Where you're like, this is the problem. No, this is the problem. No, this is the problem. No, this is the problem. Shit.
Till you get to the real
Actually,
problem.
this is the real problem. And oh my God, I've made a mess throwing around all of these non-problem. Oops. Uh-oh.
I hate that.
And then people are like, why did you freak out about the vacuum cleaner? And you're like, it wasn't actually about the vacuum cleaner, and I'm really sorry.
Right.
I'm so bad about that.
Well, I do it all the time. Like, I was doing a sheet for homework.
Oh, yeah. The
for
one where you wrote
group.
like 3 down.
Yeah. And
before you
I
got to
got
it.
like, it's like, what's the stuck pointer, the thought? And I got through 3 before I found the 1. And the 1 probably has more within it.
Mhm.
But the brain's like, distract,
But they
distract,
all feel so
distract.
real. Like,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
really does feel
Each
like
one
that.
of them, even like my sandwich wasn't cut right, to my wife beat the shit out of me. It's all
Yeah.
the same level of like intensity
Yeah.
because of your smoke screen.
Yeah.
Like, just fucking sandwich.
You're like, what the heck is the thing? Like my kid, he was like, how did you know
Oh,
it wasn't
that's-
about
yeah.
gum? And I'm like,
Dude, you just
that was
torqued
not a
it through.
gum reaction, my friend.
Yeah. From an outside perspective.
But they think
like,
it's about gum at the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Smoke screening is, that one's hard. I used to have like massive meltdowns.
Yep.
It was okay.
It was a different time, guys.
Late teens, early 20s, I was rough because literally I came out like feral on the other side of 18. and traumatized, and like I was like a stray cat that you're like trying to feed and give things
You're
to. and
stealing
it's
my
like,
TikTok bit about how Ben saved me, you
but
son
I
of a
was
bitch.
like aggressive cat.
Yeah,
not
I was
just like hide cat.
I was hide cat.
I was hide cat, but then I wasn't allowed to hide, and then it turned into like aggro.
Yeah, so basically we both at like 18 left the house.
Yep. Feral, totally feral.
and had to have families like rebuild
re-raise us. Yeah.
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 I say all the time my mother-in-law re-raised me.
Yeah.
She had this like feral 18-year-old kid dropped in her lap, and she was like,
That's what the
I
poor
guess we're gonna
Allen family had to deal with. Except they took in a ton of us at the same time. Like it was me in the beginning,
it was
and
a
then
project.
and then Jen moved in, and then Takashi moved in,
re-raising project.
and then there were too many of us, and they were like, "Chris,
You gotta go, bro.
no, it was really sweet." They're like, "You're inheriting a lot of money, right?" And it's like, "Yeah, I'm inheriting money.
Go buy a house.
Could you you can't stay here." And then I was like, "Oh no, I get it. Like, you couldn't kick one of us out without kicking us all out."
Right.
And she was like, "Oh, okay, good, you get it."
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, no, I get it. I'll find a
Yeah.
place.
But
And then
yeah,
I made a halfway
we
home.
were fucking feral.
Yeah.
Feral. And I would smoke screen for hours and make him put in so much work because I didn't know I was smoke screening, but I was like melting down, and I didn't know why, and he didn't know why, and nobody understood.
Yep.
And it was in that phase where like I hurt and I didn't feel good, and I
Right.
never felt good, and I didn't know why. And then I was like, everyone thinks I'm faking, so why bother?
Right.
And then I was just pissed about everything all the time. It was not a good time. But yeah,
You had to get retrained
smoke
on
screening.
living.
Well, and I had to get better about like doing the smoke screening on like this rapid shuffle almost in my
Mhm.
brain, so I can go through it and be like, nope, that's not it. Nope, that's
It's
not
just
it.
a Rolodex.
Nope, that's not it. Until you reach it and you're like, oh. Wow, we could have dealt
you
with
had to
that in
deal
a
with
much
that.
smaller
Yeah,
way.
The early days were they were fun.
Yeah, I was.
Oh.
I'm
Okay.
not sure how Jen and I
Let's,
made it, honestly, because
I don't know how any of us.
Let's
made
meet
it
this
to
smoke
totally.
screen.
It's
What's
like,
next?
what the
Now let's
heck?
meet this one.
Right.
Yeah. And then I was pissed at him because I was like, "Stop trying to fix me, brah."
he's
every
like,
time I fixed the problem, it didn't help.
Well,
I
'cause
just
was
want you
like,
to
That's
function.
not it. That's not the right problem. I don't know. And then I was mad at myself because I couldn't function, and it was just, it's not a good time.
yeah. I had a lot of those meltdowns where like little things would happen, and you're like, that's it.
Burn it down.
Yeah.
Nobody loves me.
I
I've ruined
screwed
everything.
this up
Yep.
permanently.
Runaway brain.
Yeah.
And
Totally.
like, I say in group therapy all the time, like, I identify it as runaway brain because I'm like, I don't want to go through all their. They try to keep us vague,
Yeah.
which is interesting because some of them are really like
My
very explicit.
my
and
group
then-
was like, just lay it out there,
right.
boy.
That's what I
Just
want.
Put it
I
all
want
on the
like
table.
let's shoot the shit, man. Let's
Yeah.
get there.
I
But
think
they
that's
don't
why
want to
you're
trigger
here.
people.
Yeah, exactly. They don't want to trigger people, and so I try to keep it vague, and I just identify it as runaway brain.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, yep, runaway brain kicks in, and that's the like stuck point that I get, and it's
My mom
hard.
has runaway brain too. She does the same thing.
Huh?
My mom has runaway brain.
Oh, really?
Yeah. She likes to burn everything down.
Yeah.
Like her parents died. She's like, fuck Denver. I'm going to Deming. But why though? Because I've always wanted to live in a tiny ranch house in the middle of nowhere by myself. Duh.
Burn it
It's
down.
always been my plan.
Burn everything down.
I only say that because we've talked recently. Don't be mad at me. I don't judge you for it.
Well, like we've done it. Like
Yeah.
it's something to do. Like it's just a trauma response,
Mhm.
and I'm aware that it's a trauma response. But sometimes runaway brain is very insistent.
Yeah.
And I can't like lay it down.
Instinctual.
Yeah.
That's very.
Yeah.
Very
I mean,
good
like, even
catch it.
when I was having my meltdown the other day, like,
Mhm.
I was afterwards, I was like, shit.
Right? You're like, I'm sorry.
Like, how do I run away from the room right now?
What's next?
How do I
don't know
leave
what to
dramatic
do.
enough to make her know that I'm upset about being upset?
Like, I really feel bad for everything I'm doing right this second, but I can't stop me.
Right.
That's the worst when you are acutely aware
That's that
of
moment
you
of
burning
clarity.
it down and you can't stop yourself.
Right.
Yep.
Because you're like, I'm committed now.
Mhm.
Like, burn it down. We started. It's on fire. Just
Might as
spread
well.
the fire.
All you have to do is like turn around real quick and go, and it goes out.
Right.
But you're like,
But
no,
you're like,
it's
"Oh,
huge.
It's
dude."
over. It's over. It's all over.
Yeah.
But then, of course, broken systems that can't help us, so we have
And
to
the
help
real question
ourselves
is,
and each
like,
other.
Where does that moment of clarity happen? Before or after you've burned the world down?
True.
Right. Well, and for me, like, it started, I don't know, because for me, that, like, big turnaround was realizing that I could communicate
Mm-hmm.
and realizing that I was, like, not just allowed, but encouraged to communicate and be able to say, like, I don't feel good, and let that be okay.
I don't know when I learned that, if I ever did.
No, I mean, that's preventative. Like,
Yeah.
That prevents you from getting into that place.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But there was a big turnaround
Yeah.
because I was able to identify a thing and just be like, I can't be specific with you right now because I
Right.
don't feel good and I can't think. But I could just be like, I don't feel good. Sorry, I'm an asshole.
Yeah. I mean, I had a phase. It took me a long time to get used to it. Is that another baby spider?
Yes.
They're raining down on us, guys.
It's rain and spiders.
It actually is. It's been going on for days.
Hallelujah. They're in my hair, probably.
There might be a few.
It's fine.
They're little babies.
It's fine. They're not gonna hurt me.
But
They're just
I had
gonna
a
be
phase where I like
weird and itchy.
overcorrected. So like I wanted to fit in, right? I'm in this new environment. I have no idea what his parents are like because we haven't really met.
Oh.
And I'm living in their basement. And he has a brother. He has two brothers. And I'm like trying to fit in.
Mhm.
So anything that anyone ever said, yes, just yes.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Have you ever? Yes, I have.
Yeah.
You don't know. You watched all of One Piece in a week? Yeah, I did. I
Yep,
watched
yep.
all of it.
Don't know what that is, but yes.
Yeah, I did it.
Yeah.
I'm cool. I could. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like just trying to fit in
Overcorrect,
somehow.
yeah. Overcorrect is the right way to put it.
Oh,
I
dude,
think.
it was strong because
Oh,
I was like, I don't
God.
want to lose this place. I like this place.
Right. Well, and
Yeah.
like the fear that it was something that you could lose, right?
Yeah.
Like they could decide they don't want me at any point.
I mean, my parents.
That
did,
could
so.
happen. Yeah. Well, you know, they were a little late, but it's fine. Whatever.
Wow.
I mean, like you did that. Consequences. I'll tell you. But yeah, no, it was. I remember the overcorrecting phase because I was a fucking angel for a very long time, and I was agreeable, and I cleaned up after everything and everyone, and I made sure that I didn't make waves, and I like
Did
I
I
wanna-
miss that phase?
I want to hear
That
about
was-
this.
after the melting down phase
There was a week.
because
Okay.
I don't know if you remember, there was one night where you were like, you're ruining their marriage, and I died inside. Like I died inside, and from that moment on I didn't do anything or say anything or like try to interact with anybody.
I felt that sentence. Jesus.
Right. It was not something that should have been put that bluntly, but it was.
Well,
But yeah, like, and then I just stopped making waves, and I was like, okay, we gotta behave.
right.
And it was a while before I was able to like identify that I was even masking in the first place.
Right.
Because how do you figure that out when you're like, I've not taken this off since I was like 8.
Mm-hmm.
What's under there?
It's easier for me because I didn't mask in Deming.
Yeah, that's fair.
My mom.
To a certain extent.
Yeah. It wasn't as much like the school shooting stuff. I just didn't talk about. It never happened.
Right.
But
Write it
everything
out.
else I was like open about. But then when we moved in with Dad, that's when it was like, okay, I have to be not here
Well,
basically.
yeah, because it was like, it's confusing and everything is danger
Yeah.
in one way or another, and like everything feels like a trap.
Yeah.
And you're like, I can't move without
Mm-hmm.
something going horribly wrong. And then of course, like Runaway Brain, I was melting down all the time there. It's just not a fun time.
No.
But yeah, no, the masking is hard, and the getting out of the masking is hard. You're like, how do you chip away at something that you're like, this has been here forever? This is an archaeological dig now.
That's where you need other people.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Because
Right.
Ben would call me out. That's why I love Ben. He's just blunt. He'll just say whatever the fuck he's thinking.
Yeah.
So it's always like brutal, but you're like, ouch. But okay. Like I know what he means.
Yeah.
Like if he said something, I wouldn't question it. You know, there was
Right.
no, what does he actually mean?
Right.
No,
Like,
he actually means what he said.
the
So.
long division that you have to do to be like, is it actually okay? You said okay. Is it actually
Yeah.
okay? What is okay? What does okay mean? What's your definition of okay? Is it the same as my definition of okay? I don't know.
Oklahoma is mine.
Oklahoma.
My definition of okay.
Good job.
Now I'm singing Oklahoma in my head.
I
Good
was
job.
too.
Well done.
Yeah.
I was waiting for somebody to come out with
I couldn't remember the
something.
words.
Same. I was like, I know the
When
tune.
the or where the da, 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 da.
Exactly. He nailed it.
Fantastic. Those are the lyrics, everyone. In case you were wondering. You can quote that. Put it on a t-shirt. Oh, man. I don't know. What's your experience with masking been like? Or like identifying and getting out of?
I didn't even like understand what masking was until probably like a couple of years ago. And come to find out that I have like a collection of masks.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like the multi-purpose mask room.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
And,
hadn't
like-
thought about that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because I remember like there were certain people I hated to be around because that mask was so irritating to have to wear.
Yeah. Holy
Yeah.
shit.
Like there were different ones for different people and different safeties.
yeah.
Right? Like you're like, how safe am I
Yeah.
here? What is the like function of the mask? What do I have to do to make you leave me alone?
Right.
Well, and like there is some purpose to some level of masking. Like it's like means to an end.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like that. Like there are people that like I just don't want to interact with,
yeah.
Yup.
and so that mask turns more into like armor.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Where you're like, it's the prickles. You're like, go
Yeah,
away.
Like, this will get me through this encounter, and then I don't have to deal with it.
Yeah, I can
Yeah.
survive this.
But also, don't talk to me.
Yeah.
Also, don't touch me. Don't be near me. Just fucking go away.
Yeah. But you
Yeah.
like you spend so long masking and wearing different masks that
Mhm.
you start to like what's underneath the mask? What is not a mask?
Right.
Yeah.
You're like, am I the mask?
Yeah.
And if I'm not the mask, what am I? Who am I?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't miss that phase.
I think that's why we struggle so hard with identity
yeah,
as
could
a
be.
whole, is because like we did have to wear the different masks all over the place forever. And so we were like, I don't know what my identity is. My identity is whatever serves the purpose today.
Yeah.
I don't know.
When for the longest time it was, what mask am I wearing today?
Yeah.
Let me suss out what mom feels.
Mm-hmm.
Like she decided
Like,
what our
what's
mask
the mood?
was.
Yeah. What's the mood? Like,
yeah.
which, yeah. Which one?
Right.
Yeah.
You have a selection,
Mm-hmm.
and none of them are you,
What
but
mask
you've
is
got to wear
expected of
them.
me today?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really, that's what that is. Yeah. That's a hard place to be in too, because it's exhausting.
Yeah.
Exhausting. And then they're like, if you don't have a place to recharge and nothing
I
feels
was just
safe.
thinking that, yeah. I remember coming back from school and being like, okay, here we go.
Here we go.
Like,
Can I go back to school now?
yeah, I need to unwind
I'm
more.
gonna go to school.
Yeah.
Well, and that's when I started like sneaking out, because anywhere was not there.
Yeah.
And I
Sneaking
could-
out.
I could wear like lighter masks with different people, and then there were people that I was like, okay, we can feel this way a little bit. We'll give you a peek,
Yeah.
because I was always careful about like, and this is where like I think my maladaptive serves me, is like I will identify the biggest negatives for myself before anyone else can,
Right.
and that way you can't use them to hurt me because they're already
Right.
out there. So that was already always like one of my first moves with people that I was like, are you a safe person? Here's some information that I don't give a shit if you have, but what will you do with it?
Testing them, huh?
Yeah.
Nice. On the
Oh,
spot.
it's that healthy power exchange.
Oh yeah. You were taking your power back through
Taking-
words.
Taking my power.
Through the power of interpretive dance.
No.
That she would just dance in front of new people, and if
And
they
then-
hated it,
And then they beat the shit out of me. I got
That's-
jumped
that was
like
the end
every
of it.
afternoon. And then it was weird being in a place where, like, the mask is not a thing.
Yeah.
Like, you're like, which one serves you? And they're like, I don't know. What do you mean?
Yeah.
And you're like, wait, no, you have to tell me what you expect of me so that I can do the thing.
Yeah.
And I feel like
Please.
so much of like the youth mental health field is like mask development.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not like coping skills. It's not strategies. It's
No.
how do we make you appear normal?
Yes.
Yeah.
And get
Appear
your
normal
parents
and
and
be
teachers off of
productive.
my back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quit fidgeting so much. Sit down. Quit talking so much. Quit running around the room.
You
Yep.
gotta fit the mold. Come on.
Yeah.
Quit
Get
being
in.
neurodivergent.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Put this
Well,
mask
and
on.
that's like what we hate most about like special ed is when you're working with people with severe needs. They are, well, even moderate needs, like even just stimming
Yeah.
is something that they like train out of them. And you're like,
Right.
not a dog, first of all.
Yeah.
We're not training them. That's ridiculous. They're learning things like how to communicate,
Right.
but it's not training. This is not like Polly want a cracker. So I hated that.
Yeah.
And then I hated the like, let's do everything in our power to make you look normal
Right.
instead of how do we teach you how to survive in a world that's not built for you.
Well,
and it's
why
not
do we
even
keep
friendly to
putting
you.
Up these needless barriers. Like,
Yeah.
What's the function of this rule? Who's it
Yeah.
hurting?
What do you mean?
Like
Say that again.
stimming. Like,
Oh, yeah.
what's the function of the like?
Don't do
we gotta get this kid to stop stimming.
Yeah.
Oh, well, it's a carryover from if you had a child, a special needs kiddo, it was just shame on your family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
But it never
it doesn't
stops. Yeah.
function the same way now.
Mm-hmm.
But we still try to like train it.
Well, that's
out
our
of
whole school
kids.
system. It's built for factories, right?
Yeah.
And like we're gonna send these kids into the mine anyway, right? So it's an outdated platform to begin with, and then you add people with neurodivergencies, and it becomes almost like toxic in and of itself.
Yeah.
And when society is what's poisoning you, how do you survive? And that's where I'm like, we got to teach them that, because they have to understand that the world is not going to approach them with empathy. The world is going to approach them as a predator, and you have to make sure that you are not the prey.
Yeah.
Well,
And that's a hard thing
I feel like
to
as
learn.
time goes on, more and more of like the people that failed in school are going into education
Yes.
with the mindset of like, this system wasn't built for me.
Yes.
I'm gonna do things differently.
Well, that's like how Summer and I identified it when we
Mhm.
talked about it. Was like, I wanted to be the person that I never had. I wanted to be somebody who could be a resource and an advocate and like
Yeah.
really listen to what's going on and help kids to identify their strengths and work from there,
Yeah.
instead of like, here's everything that's wrong with you forever, and I'm only going to call your parents when you're doing something naughty, like
Mm-hmm.
you're bad. And so it was the bad kids that I was like, ooh, we gotta do something for those kids, because they are slipping through the cracks at an alarming rate. And then when they slip through the cracks, we wind up with like 2E kid problems.
Yeah.
And sometimes even violence, where we find a lot of our like school shooters were twice exceptional.
Yeah.
Because they slipped through the cracks.
But I mean, even like without the extreme, like like these kids that like start with just like they're a little neurodivergent and they're a little fidgety in like the elementary school classroom.
Mm-hmm.
Like the more and more that doesn't get addressed, the more escalated that gets.
But their version of addressing it is, let's drug the 7-year-old.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, make him stop fidgeting, instead of like, here's an outlet that is non-disruptive to your peers.
Yeah.
But no one thinks that way, because it's not about the kid. It's about the system and the structure and the procedure.
Yeah.
And if it's not matching the procedure, it's a problem. But it's not about helping the kid to learn. Because if we were doing that, we'd be on top of our game. But what they're doing is like, how do we make you fall in line?
Yeah.
And be normal and stop doing weird stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think schools are moving away from that a little bit more. Like, they're definitely starting to get more acceptant of like neurodivergence.
Yeah.
And they're including more just like general, broad mental health
Yeah.
support and instruction.
Right.
But like when you're starting from ground zero, it's a long way up.
Yeah. It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yep.
I don't know where we are, friends. Are we all fading a little bit? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I can sense it in the air. It's time to call it for today. But I've had a really good time. These were really just interesting conversations, and it's fun to throw around. So I hope that you have enjoyed it. And I thank you very much for watching to this point, and hopefully enjoyed the Wednesday episode. Check out some other episodes. Like, share, subscribe. There's my shill for the day. Ugh.
Nice.
My soul has died.
Well done.
So thank you. Be kind to you. Be kind to others. And we will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
You're like not.
Could you
Not
Cut
that.
a neck. We could even cut this off mid.